I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending April the 19th. Hope everyone had a great Easter. I'm going to talk to you about the market here in a minute, but basically for my regular viewers, not a whole lot has changed since the last visit, because with Good Friday on Friday, basically your week was finished up on Thursday. But I want to talk to you about this Impossible meat, or what they're calling meat. It's a meat substitute. I don't consider it to be meat, but you wonder why they're calling all of these burgers, these fake burgers, in some of these fast food chains that are starting to offer them. You wonder why they're calling them Impossible burgers. The product is coming from a company called Impossible Foods, and it's a plant-based meat substitute. And you can go on their website and look, and you can see that it is their goal to completely replace animal meat, animal protein, real meat, with this meat substitute, which is a plant-based kind of a mush that they make in a laboratory. It's not helping any agriculture group. It's just single molecules that they're starting out with, so it's not like they're going to be selling a whole lot more soybeans or anything. If this really takes off, it's just a laboratory produced mush that they have been able to replicate the texture and evidently the taste of meat, but it's all done artificially. But if you look on there, they continuously call themselves meat, even though I would not consider it to be meat, but they continue to embellish the impact on the environment from animal agriculture. And it's hard to watch and read on there how they just embellish and blow out the impact on the footprint, if you will, of animal agriculture, and it's something that kind of get your temper going if you're like me and get to looking at it. But it's getting very, very popular. It's already in the Burger King. If you remember, we set the cardboard crown on fire here a week or two ago. It's also in White Castle burgers, the little burgers you get that are on the rolls. They also offer it now in Red Robin gourmet burgers. And the thing that really gets me is how they exploit, everybody's loved burgers. That's America's quick food to eat. Everybody loves them. They love the taste of real beef burgers. But they're exploiting the people's love for that and then replacing it with this fake product. And so now they get it in Red Robin, which offers gourmet burgers. And if you look at this, you can replace any Red Robin burger with this fake meat Impossible burger for an extra cost, mind you. We've already established that they're not any healthier. They're not any lower in calories or sodium or any of the things that you think are bad for you. It's just basically a replacement product to hurt animal agriculture. And I'm not sure what they think seem to gain here. I guess it's all environmental. But what do they think is going to happen? Are these cattle just going to live their lives out until they die of old age and we walk by and pet them once in a while? Or are we supposed to just kill all the ones we have left and not raise any more, and you have to go to a zoo to see a bovine of any kind? I'm not sure how they think that's going to work. All these expansive ranches that people support all over the country by raising cattle and selling beef, do they think that we're just going to open those up, that they're not an asset to the people, just going to open them up and let all these environmental lovers come out there and hike and camp out and smoke dope and just do what they love to do? No, that's what state and national parks are for, and which they dominate if you've ever been to them. But no, it's not going to work that way. But we've got to get a little bit more proactive, those of us in the cattle industry, and start pushing back on this stuff a little bit more. They're really pushing out and to spend a lot of money on advertising and things like this. The research and development money that they're spending is ungodly, and we're just sitting back watching it happen and wondering what's going to happen. I don't understand why we're not out there. I think what we ought to do is put together some kind of association or several associations, and all the people that raise cattle or in the cattle business donate to this. Maybe they could give $1 or so every time we kill a steer or heifer or cow, any bovine. We could collect it at the plant. We know exactly how many cattle are killed every day. Just have the packers pay it and let them trickle it down, which they would not have a problem doing at all. It would be very, very easy to collect, wouldn't cost very much money, and you could take in well over $600,000 a week. That would be a big help, and then we could fund something to push back on this. And then if we really got crazy, then we could say every time a bovine of any type changed hands, then you had to collect $1 there. Even if it meant some of your light calves that sold fairly young in life got hammered like a half a dozen times or more every time you sold them. But you know, that may be way too much. Then you'd have to get all of your auction markets, all of your brand inspectors if you're on the western part of the United States. You'd have to get all your order buyers. Everybody would be labored with having to collect this money and get it sent in. It would cost quite a bit to get all that done. Oh, wait a minute. We do have that already. Oh my gosh, well, where are we at? Where's the big push? You know, where's the tanks and the posse at to go in and fight these things that are trying to take our industry away? I don't know. It doesn't seem like anybody else is talking about it besides me, and my voice doesn't stretch near as far as I wished it would. But let's talk about some of the markets. Last week, your April live cattle contracts. Monday was down a quarter, Tuesday up 85 cents, Wednesday down 22 cents, Thursday up $1.60. Friday, everything closed on Good Friday, but your April live cattle contracts ended the week at 128.52. That was up $1.97 for the week. Pretty good week on the board, even better in cash. June live cattle contracts 122.67, up $1.22. You go out there, our lowest month in the dog days of summer is August, and it's almost 120 at 119 and 6 bits. And now, you know, we were thinking that maybe just not that many weeks ago that we might be struggling to hold $1 on fat cattle going through the dog days of summer, knowing that we have huge amounts of cattle that are going to be on the show list right during the hardest part of the year to hold the market together. But I tell you what, with the board sitting at 119.75 for August, that's given us a lot of hope to hold it up there. And if you are still bearish on that, that gives you a lot of money to make on the way down if that's what you choose to do. But April feeder cattle contracts, Monday was up a quarter, Tuesday completely unchanged, Wednesday down 35 cents, Thursday up 37, closed on Friday. April feeder cattle contract ended the week at 145.70, up 28 cents for the week, not too much. May was up $1.02 at 151.52. Your fat cattle trade, on the last visit we talked about it a lot. We come out, everything happened through Thursday, so we didn't have to wait on Friday. Could have been a little bit of trickle cleanup trade on Friday, which will add to the volume, but already a great volume of 109,200 head. There's going to be a few more come up on that that got turned in late Thursday and some on Friday, but it could be one of the biggest volume weeks we've had so far this calendar year, which we've been falling way behind on. But good movement there on a sharply higher market. You remember on Wednesday the trade started with the Southern Plains selling most of their cattle, most of the Texas cattle, the bulk of the Kansas cattle at 126, which was $2 better, so gaining some ground there. And some people wish that they could have squeezed another $1 or $2 more, but the north is where they're really short of cattle, and that's where the ground was to be made up. And they did on Thursday, selling Northern Plains, especially in Nebraska, almost all your live sales up there at 130, $2 to $4 higher. Great market. We didn't think we were going to be able to get back to 130, and we were kind of working with a spring high of 128. We've got such a disparity now between the Northern Plains and the Southern Plains. I don't know if we can count 130 as the top. I guess we can, because that's established in the northern plains and the bulk of Nebraska at 130. So we've established a new cash high for spring fat cattle, which makes us feel pretty good, because we thought we had kind of lost our grip and it was going away. Your dress sales may be even better, 207 to 208. 208 is pretty salty. That's $3 higher. So far, your weighted average on your live steers in the 5-area feeding region through Thursday sitting at 128.37. That's pretty darn good. But the best thing that we saw come out was late on Thursday, after all your market reporters had gone home and everything. We saw a quote come out of @CattleTrades on Twitter, and if you don't take that, you need to get it @CattleTrades. That's Consolidated Beef Producers, completely transparent price reporting there. They tell you every time they sell cattle at what price and where those cattle were at. And they come out late Thursday at 129 in Kansas. Now you would have to assume it'd be northern Kansas, but still, that invisible line, which is the Kansas-Nebraska border, that's significant, because when you get some trade, that's still considered the southern plains. We thought we'd sold all the cattle at 126, which is $2 higher. That 129 would be $5 higher. That's the springboard we're going into this week with, and it's significant. Your dress steers in the 5-area feeding region averaging through Thursday 207.77. So most all that trade at 208, because there sure wasn't anything much higher than that. But box beef cutout values gained ground again. So just like the cattlemen are seeing highs for this spring coming back again, we're also seeing our box beef cutout values highs come back again, and choice is really stretching out good, and the middle meats are really popular, like they get whenever their grilling demand sparks up. But choice cuts, your average trade for the week, 230, 250. That was $3.78 higher than the average from the previous week. Selects 220.50, up 45 cents compared to the previous week. Choice select spread now all the way out to $12. And that's a lot, especially considering that these days basically everything grades choice. I'm not sure what's going on there with these camera images doing all the grading now, but something's jacked up. You guys know it too. There's no way that these cattle are grading as well as they do. We've had the grade standards, same grade standards for 40 or 50 years, and we've never seen this happen before. I know the cattle are better, but they're not that much better. And so that's going to get straightened out one of these days. But that choice select spread of $12, that is significant considering we've got so much choice product. But all this happened on 625 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter for the week, also good, 638,000. That ties the previous week with the biggest week so far this year. But we thought we might even do better than that. We were really stretching our legs, thinking we might get up in the 640s, close to 650,000, which would be a monster week. But that's because we got into a holiday weekend and a lot lighter Saturday than what we normally see. So only 638,000, but that's steady with the previous week and 11,000 more than the same week a year ago. Your cash feeder cattle market, $2 to $5 higher on feeder cattle in your auction sales. Real-time index on Cattle Market Central, 146.82 at the end of the week, and that was up $2.53 compared to the end of the previous week. But that 2 to 5 higher on your straight-up feeder cattle, and there was good demand. Tell you what, the weather was pretty darn nice all across the country, and even your guys up in the flooded areas in Nebraska that's had the most miserable winters, up in South Dakota, even they're getting a reprieve now, and they believe that spring is indeed going to come now too. And it's just got everybody's moods turned up. We've seen a lot of drying out of the feedlots up there, and guys that's been out of the market for quite a while coming back into the market, and fairly aggressively, even on cattle going right into the feedlot. But on the last of the old crop stocker cattle, your calf weight yearlings, things like that, I mean, sharply higher where they were offered, especially if they were offered in big strings. I mean, sharply, sharply higher. We saw some monster prices. One of them here, Ogallala, Nebraska, on Thursday sold 155 head of 610-pound stocker steers at $205. Now that is a monster price. Those cattle were going to Kansas to turn out, so that would make you understand why they were so hungry for those cattle, because the turnout dates are right now. So basically all they had to do was run those cattle in there. They wouldn't even have had to, but they all do. They go back in and process them again, and probably implant them and give them new ear tags, worm them again, and set them free again. But they wouldn't have to worry about them trying to keep them up, because they know the health on them is going to be really good. But on the calves, steady to $5 higher, even in the southeast. So that was significant, because we've seen a lot of cattle already turned out here this past week. Most of your Flint Hills can turn out April the 15th. A lot of the Osage, most all your double stock places will sure be turned out by April 15th. So I wouldn't expect, and I said that last week, but I didn't think they would get right up to the wire as much as they have. But that's when the cattle were offered, and everybody's just been a little bit delayed selling them. But I wouldn't expect what few old crop stockers are left to launch that far into the stratosphere anymore, because basically all your big grazing areas that take those cattle in the middle of April will be turned out on now. There's still a lot of grass to be grazed. There's going to be a lot of grazing out west, because they got rain and they got big snows. And then all the moisture that they had up in the northern plains is going to be able to take advantage of that. You know, the old saying, when you get a lot of snow, that means a lot of grass when you come in. And they haven't quite turned out on all that yet, so still going to be good demand for all types of grazing cattle, what few old crop stockers they got left, and then on your lighter weight calves too. But noticeably more of your lighter weight cattle were soft calves this last week, and people didn't go to them maybe as aggressively as they would, but still steady to 5 higher across the country. Look at a big quote there on Friday from a Southern Plains market there, but this is a pretty good quote, and there's several loads here at South Coffeyville Stockyards in South Coffeyville, Oklahoma. Look at these loads here, ranging from 775 to 890 pounds, 143.35 to 145 and a quarter. Those are pretty good quotes there, guys, and think about where that's at. And then the best quote out of those is the one load of 887 pound steers at 144 and a quarter. That's a look at your markets for the week from a Home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.